Thank y'all for tuning in. The family room. We got a very, very special guest in the place to be. Thank y'all for tuning in. My name is Trek Life, of course. We might have a few video technical difficulties, but of course that does not stop any show whatsoever. So, just to get things started a little bit, man, thank you guys for tuning in to the family room. My guest that I have today is actually one of my favorite DJs. I've said that to him before. So, and I'll get into the reasons why as we talk to him. But, I do want to make sure that we plug the plug. Shout out to Chiefs. CBD, Cheese Botanicals. You can put in a code and you can get these. Snapbacklive.com/cheap. And you can use the code Snapback for a discount on these Chief CBD gummies or any of their other products. So please check out Cheese Botanicals. And without further ado, man, I want to spend some time talking to this brother. So we're just going to jump into it. Y'all ready? Let's roll, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to the family room, the man, the myth, the legend, Carson, California's own, DJ Remark. What up, Remark?
What's up, Trek? Thank you for having me, man.
Man, my pleasure, my pleasure. How are you, brother?
I was chilling on this Saturday afternoon, or Saturday evening, I should say.
Well, I'm glad you actually took some time out from your busy Twitch schedule to kick it with me, man. Like,
I ain't no busy Twitch schedules. It's like, oh, nobody's on. Okay, I'll go on right now. That's the schedule right there.
Word up. We're gonna get into that in just a moment. I do want to give kind of an introduction. I did say before this stream, and you can actually confirm that I said before this stream that you are one of my favorite DJs, especially the MC4.
Man.
I said that on Facebook months ago, so this isn't just because he's on my show.
I mean, it's honorable to be mentioned in the same sentence as Mark Love,
Mark Love, yeah, that's another one of my favorites. Between you, him, and Al Jackson have to be my favorite DJs to rock with.
Damn.
One of the reasons, though, man, is because it feels like you have a genuine passion for DJing, like all aspects of it, the technical aspect of it, the selecting the right song. Like, you really actually study. It seems like you really studied this, man. Like, what got you started into DJing?
I just want to say, just like anyone else, I mean, just the love for music initially,
Word.
I think in like late, fifth or sixth grade, I just started collecting tapes, people like other kids would make tapes and would trade and stuff. And I'd be exposed to like artists just like, The Boys, like Bobby Brown, stuff like that early on. So just having being up on stuff early was kind of my start. And then it eventually started to, I got into junior high. I used to see this one DJ who would DJ all of our junior high lunchtime dances. Some dude named DJ Icy Ice from Legend Entertainment.
Oh, so Ice DJ y'all lunchtime dances?
Yeah, he did.
Oh boy.
So we walk into the auditorium to be like four speakers set up. I'm not talking speakers like plug in like we have now.
No, them old school cabinet speakers.
Cabinet speakers, and then like whole light show, and then like on the wall it said Legend Entertainment. I was like, man, this is crazy.
That's dope. That's dope. I didn't realize Ice was DJing your lunchtime parties. Ours was DJed by this dude named Jinx, and I still remember it to this day. And that actually is a big influence. Like that those lunchtime DJs, man. It's a good thing you brought that up. That's a heavy influence on why a lot of people got into the skill, right?
Right, exactly. So like I would hear like mixing like on mixtapes and stuff like that, and even on the radio, like Saturday night they'd have mix shows and everything like that. But it didn't really process to me how they're making these songs go seamlessly to the next like on beat and everything.
Word.
Until I saw it live, and Ice was like cutting it up, like doing doubles, like talking on the mic and everything. I'm like, wow, dude,
Ice, man. Icy Ice, yo.
Yeah, not many people know that story, but yeah, that was one of the early DJs I saw, like, live.
Wow. So we could actually thank Icy Ice for Remark, for being blessed with late nights with Remark, playing Yacht Rock. I do have a question though. Your Yacht Rock set actually brought about a question I've been meaning to ask you.
Okay.
What were you listening to? What music was played in your house? Like, what was your family listening to before before trading tapes? What kind of music were you guys listening to?
Almost everything like you can think of. I guess my parents were really, first and foremost, like the Beatles was just played. Like, whoa. I guess that goes back to my mom growing up in the Philippines in college. She actually told me a story. She tried to take guitar lessons so she could try to play Beatles songs. Just because back in those days, you'd have to go like to a diner and just save up your coins and to play in the jukebox to hear your favorite songs.
Wow. So she actually took lessons so she could play them instead of having to go to a diner and listen to them. That is dedication. Mom's is the OG for that.
Yeah, and then my dad kind of like when he got here to the States, probably late 60s, early 70s, he was all into the disco era. So that guy, I know almost every Bee Gees song whatsoever.
So it's mad Boogie Wonderland.
It was. Yep.
Where did your parents they had records around the crib as well? Or was it, generally just tape? Okay. Cool.
And like, growing up, I always remember there was always that, like, the Bee Gees, the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Even early on, I remember like Off the Wall and even Thriller was around when I first started them out. So
that's a big staple. Because your music knowledge is pretty vast, man. Like you know your stuff. To talk to you about music in general without even talking about the skill of DJing or any of that connection, man, you have a pretty in-depth music knowledge. So we talked trading tapes. We talked old school music that was played around the house. When you first started DJing, what was your first gig?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Please tell me it was like a family party so we can swap stories on DJing and family parties. But go ahead.
It kind of, the first time I ever brought my turntables out was to a family party, and they're just to me, just like, just to play for me and my cousins for like, for a short amount of time. And, that kind of, I remember just plugging into my uncle's home stereo system and and that didn't go too well. Plugging turntables and a mixer into like, just a basic home setup and without knowing any knowledge about, volume and,
I know all too much about it. That's why it's funny. Outside of that though, you would rock. Did you guys rock like an event before? And which, that's two questions. Okay. Which crew was first? Because I know you were, Cerritos All Stars. There's Legend. I know I'm gonna be missing some crews because I'm not going back far enough. But which crew was first?
Me and my friends from high school, like a few, like, buddies, like who I kind of like ran into, and we kind of had the same kind of passion for trying to start DJing. We were called Worldwide. I don't know why we chose that name. I don't know why. You're just some kids from Carson. We didn't know jack shit about the world, but we were just like, yo, that sounds cool. It would be dope to put on flyers because that name would just stand out or something.
Word. So the first crew was Worldwide, and you moved. Were you? So I met you before Global through CAS, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure what the order was.
I think we met through Global first. Yeah. Okay.
Because the reason why I think that is because I was a little more advanced in my career when I started doing things with Global in CAS. So I can't remember the order, but from there, either way, I found out you were down with CAS, which is really close to me.
That was a little later on. That was after Legend.
That was after Legend. Okay.
Oh well, I'm still from Legend, but it was like after, like, it was kind of like, I kind of think of it at transitions,
Yeah. Legend was the party rocking crew though. Like Legend was actually.
So yeah. It was just, it kind of came full circle because, the guy who one of the first DJs I saw spinning was Icy Ice. And then like, that was junior high. So when I was in high school, I would always come across these like flyers for Legend parties that they were rocking, and I wasn't old enough to go to yet,
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, one day, hopefully, if I practice enough and like meet the right people, maybe I can rock for a party like that one day, So
and ended up doing it. They used to pack 1,500 people in the Variety Arts Center. That
yes, and I feel like crap always like trying to hear about those days because it came like right before my time,
Could you imagine though, like 1,500 people in some of your first gigs? Would you have been nervous?
Oh man, I'd feel like I'd be the most cockiest dude if I rocked the party of 1,500 like for my first party,
I can only imagine. Yo,
yeah.
There is Remark, the person, like the homie Remark. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We could chill outside while Remark smokes a cigarette and we just chop it up, right? Then there's Remark the DJ. And Remark the DJ is no nonsense, all business on the ones and twos. Do you consider those two personalities different? Like, is Remark as a DJ an alter ego in a sense? Or is it like, nah, I'm really no nonsense all around?
I mean, it goes back. I mean, I do take that seriously, the Remark the DJ, particularly because, as you, the MC, nobody knows the amount of work we put into this, like,
Right.
behind the scenes and like the hours we, taking up, the sacrifices we had to make, like just to practice and try out new stuff and kind of like that discipline that goes behind it. So yeah, I do take that seriously.
Definitely. And it shows because we've gone from just rocking parties, rocking from high school. I know there was a stint on the radio, right? Now I might get this mixed up. I might get this wrong, so please correct me. But I feel like it was Palm Springs that a lot of people were DJing out of.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that kind of transitioned. So like, around the time when I was like still doing the legend parties, and the legend parties I would do were 18 and over. And so around that time I was like kind of like, okay, I need to venture off and start doing these 21 and over parties now. Cause I mean, a lot of people that I'm like, like I'm sort of spinning for are reaching that age and, they're not trying to go like to 18 over live bait on a Thursday night no more and stuff like that. And so everything kind of just happened by accident because at around the same time, internet radio was really starting to take off around that early 2000s. And that's when I'd like, I get invited from the Cerritos All-Stars crew to come do their radio show. And that was the first of its kind because I feel like when they started doing internet radio, because they were just a bunch of like, tech hobbyists that tried to, okay, let's start our own little internet station.
They were one of the first. They were one of the first, hands down.
They were the first independent ones to get picked up by iTunes.
Wow.
So
that I didn't know.
Imagine that reach they had after like iTunes started putting them on their hip hop channel,
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So, I mean, the more I started doing that, I mean, shout outs to Rockefeller and Quest and Duck and the whole crew. But yeah, the more I started doing those live shows with them, they kind of just invited me just to be like, yo, you might as well just be part of the crew. And I was like, I'm down with that.
Word.
Everybody's homies and everything like that. And, even though I wasn't from Cerritos,
I was going to say the
like
Carson kid in the Cerritos crew.
I felt like that was a big honor at the time, It's like, damn, dude, like a Carson kid to get invited to a Cerritos DJ crew,
Let's start a beef real quick. All right. let's start an issue. This was the first question I was going to ask you when I thought to interview you actually. So Carson and Cerritos are two of the greatest DJ cities, not just in the nation, in the world. Some of the best DJs come from both cities. Mm-hmm. And I know you're from Carson. Mm-hmm. So if you had to pick right now, city A and city B, where would Carson fall and where would Cerritos fall?
I mean, my arrogance is going to pick A, I mean, we might not win, but we'll go down fighting,
Because I'm thinking of the list of DJs from both sides. It's like, God, dude, the level of amazing had to be crazy. The competition had to be crazy around there. Like,
even I talked to Ice. His influences were like some of the Cerritos cats, like Curse and Rhapmatic before the Beat Junkies formed. So, I mean,
what was it like, man? Like at all those DJs in that centered area, what was that? What was that like?
I really can't speak for like, the generation that came a little before me, which is like what the Beat Junkies are now. But for me, it was always like you would only know about certain DJs by seeing whatever flyers come your way.
Okay.
And then even with just like mixtapes that come your way. So during junior high, when I was still discovering like Ice and all them, I would also know about like guys like E-Man and Verman out of Long Beach, because E-Man was just rising into Power 106 at the time, and at the same time, Verman was synonymous for like this. Like he was really popular for these slow jam mixes that would go floating around to every Filipino of my generation. Like you had like a 4th or 5th generation dub tape that sounded like crap already, but like, yo, that's like the greatest tape I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So,
shout out to Verman, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually the first DJ to put me on the radio with his
dope.
Drop.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So you're in this city. You're in the city of Carson. It's normal. It's normal to you because you're around. Like Icy Ice was DJing your high school lunches, so you're used to being around all this DJ greatness. When did you feel like you fit in? When did you? I know you're gonna do the humble thing now and say, "Well, I'm always a student." But when did you feel like, yo, I made this transition over to being, a name that should be at the top or at least be respected on these flyers or within this group?
I honestly felt like that. Like, I want to say the Global years.
Okay.
When I met you at the time from Global Records.
Yeah.
I felt like you kind of felt like I kind of felt like a DJ. Like, well, when I first started, when Ice kind of could, we didn't really quote unquote say it, but he kind of took me under his wing. I felt at that time like I couldn't just get a free ride out of this. I had to come with it. So I kind of like practiced even harder around those years.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, practice those doubles because the doubles are super ill. But, so I'm using there like, global years were crazy. Like, cause that actually took you to the industry side of things, though. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you were meeting up with the actual artist, and they were requesting you to play their records. You were having these actual conversations. What was that like?
Okay, well, first, that wasn't the first record pool I was a part of.
Okay, cool.
The first record pool I was a part of, I had like gotten some, someone hit me up, or actually goes by the name of DJ Echo from the Hollow Boys, Scam or wherever he's at now. But shout out to Echo. He got me an internship with Frank V over at Ghetto Baby.
Oh snap! Okay, familiar.
Yeah. So that was like
my first.
I was there for a brief amount of time, and that was trip. I remember meeting AM before he blew up. I remember meeting like Craig Anthony. At that time, his name was DJ Homicide from a group called Sugar Ray.
Wow.
I remember.
Yes.
Oh, he was around that office a lot. So
it took me years to make that connection. But
yeah.
so that, of course, that was the initial thing about being in the first record pool, was just the transferring from playing these artists to meeting these artists and learning how these records got to you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And so at that time, that was just like very overwhelming from that record pool, because man, I was seeing like all these DJs that were like on that verge of like, just blowing up. And I probably, looking back at it, I probably wasn't ready to mingle amongst that group just yet. I kind of had to, I don't know. I just kind of felt like I was still just a kid coming up, and I needed to be around like-minded minds as myself for me to kind of pave that way,
And did Global provide that, or did you find?
I felt like it did. I felt like I was around like DJs who were just like still on that, we're hungry as fuck right now, and we're not just doing the big name clubs. We got cats that are doing like, bars and lounges too. I mean, for instance, like one of the guys that I met there, Marco Nova, he was like, doing like a small little sports bar in Irvine. And all of a sudden, like 2 months later, he's spinning for Dennis Rodman,
Wow. That's the transition in DJing seems to happen pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
The business side of DJing seems to be like all of this. Like it's one of those things that you randomly, it kind of smacks you in the face. At least as an MC, it did for me.
Yes,
was it the same for you? Like just learning how to conduct to navigate the business side of these things, getting gigs and which gigs to take, which gigs to not, and how to continue to make bread in lean times. Like how do you navigate that?
The breaking bread will always be like, something that like you kind of have to figure out for yourself. As far as the business side of things, I kind of had to just keep like my peripheral like wider than it was, and just kind of just absorb what's going on just by, without asking, without talking about it, just watch what's going on. And I kind of just took little mental notes around that time.
Right.
And yeah, the promoter DJ thing was really big back then.
What was that transition from promoter to from DJ, having just learning, to promoter, had to be crazy. Just the guest list alone seems like a crazy thing to deal with.
So back then it was either you're like one of those DJs who are just grinding and just taking like whatever gig you can have from like bars to whatnot, not knowing if there's going to be like, you know, a crowd. And, you know, a lot of these bar managers and stuff were always like kind of depending on you to bring the crowd. Right. To working with promoters who also have to have that sort of expectation of you. But you also know, it's like, man, the promoter is kind of like the middleman in all this, you know?
Yeah. Really, though. And the one that gets blamed when things go wrong and sort of ignored when things go right. It's a difficult position to be in, and being the middleman.
Yeah, it is. And then so, I mean, eventually years go by and then we start Snapback. We kind of learned like from trials and tribulations of dealing with like promoters and bar managers right back then. It's like we can come in and be the promoter ourselves and, you know, do this the way we want it to be.
Yeah. And I've seen you guys make moves, seen you personally make moves like from Hollywood out to Fullerton, all, you know, pretty much all around. Like, these gigs are just coming from a community sense, right? Or is hustle and community, I'd imagine, right?
It is, because, I mean, over the years, you know, if you're doing enough of these gigs, these people who you meet and, like, come out to see you and you kind of, like, you know, bond with, have drinks and all that, that becomes your clientele, whether you know it or not, you know?
Right. Yeah, because just on Twitch alone, watching you guys kind of navigate through the rooms and DJs and know each other. I'm definitely part of that community, so I'm saying you guys like I'm not part of it, but watching us all reconnect. I jumped in Five's room. He was like, "Dang, I haven't seen Trek or met Trek during the Global Record Pool." And I'm thinking, God, dude,
right? It's crazy, huh?
You know, 15, 20 years ago. So the DJ connection is strong, but I have a community question for you though. Okay, so. Again, I'd love to be corrected if I'm wrong, but I am really interested in how DJing changed the image in the Filipino community. I feel like I'm a kid from LA. I didn't know a lot about any other race. That's just me being honest. Till I was like 10 and I moved to a city where people were speaking Tagalog, and I was like, what are you doing? What is that even? What language is that? You know what I'm saying? But it didn't seem like there was a large presence of Filipinos out in front of the camera, out in front of the party until DJing. Am I wrong about that? Did it change that? Like, what did you see? How did DJing change or alter the image in the Filipino community?
Well, DJing, I guess, you know, a lot of Filipinos can say it was an easy, like, you know, hobby and I don't even want to say profession. You see it as a hobby first, and you're comfortable just seeing, like, you know, someone with your own skin tone doing that on a bigger stage, and you're like, oh, that person can do it. Hey, like, you know, let me mess around with it and see what happens, you know?
Did it alter the image? Was like, now do you find yourself, you know, around non-Filipino people and they're like, yo, are you a DJ? Like,
before? Yeah, I think, you know, anyone like, you know, who hasn't been around Filipinos wouldn't know like what. I mean, we're just another Asian race, you know, and it's either we DJ'd or we raced cars basically around the 90s. If you're B-Stang, you did both.
You did both. B-Stang, oh man, B-Stang is so old school, and it's hard to even note it because B just refuses to age. But yo, I find it really interesting because I'm noticing, or have noticed over the years, faces like Babu and Redmatic, of course, Icy Ice, become more prominent faces, just in front of the camera faces. You know what I'm saying? People that people take note of. I just watching Redmatic on the news was like, okay, wait, am I watching this dude on the news right now? Like,
right.
So do you think that? How do you think you're viewed right now for the generation coming under you? What do you think their image of Remark is? Are they like, yo,
I don't know.
Do you feel like there's some Marvel there?
I honestly haven't even given any thought to that. I mean, I hope they're, it's that guy with the cold brew bottle, like,
yo, what's up with the cold brew, dude? How did that happen? For real, like everybody, inquiring minds. I'm sitting up in my chair right now. How did the cold brew thing jump off?
So, a few, I have a few friends that I drink with, like in OC. One of them, she happened, I'd be like, yo, okay, what's the newest drink, and she showed me this bottle of Jameson cold brew. I was like, what the hell is this? And it didn't really, I drank it. It was cool. And then all I just remember from is it's hard, it's kind of hard to find right now. And so going into quarantine, I started seeing those bottles around at Walmart. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm starting to find these like Easter eggs right now. So I better start taking them.
Right.
And then the whole live streaming thing started. We started doing Instagram, and people would always ask, hey, what is that you're drinking behind you? And it kind of just took off from there. And I just ran with it.
That's super dope. Right now, you started Brutane Clan, Cold Brew Gang, which was scary. It was CBG. I was
that's why I had to change it. I was like, you know what, man, we can be starting some fights up in here on Twitch. And
I was afraid of who would enter the room when I said that. Like, yo, okay, let's be careful here. You right now, man, you are the leader of all things Cold Brew. People are coming to you people, if somebody mentions cold brew on another channel, they're like, yo, and by the way, Remark, you know what I'm saying? We got to get the sponsorship cracking, man. Like,
it would be nice. I'm not opposed to that.
All right, so I have an idea to propose to you.
Okay.
We flip a Billy D. Williams style cold brew commercial with Remark. Yo, let's jump into Twitch real quick before we get out of here. Can somebody please do me a favor in the chat? Any VIP or my throw up Remark's Twitch. That's twitch.tv/DJ Remark. If you're not following Remark, please do so right now.
Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, shout out to the whole chat. It's going down in there.
Yeah, Stubbs, Chrissy, B-Stang, Gentlemen. I see everybody. Shug, what's up, Shug?
Big Shug in the house. Ling, EJ.
Yeah.
I saw Abloon. What up, man? Yeah, I see B-Stang. I don't know if you heard me earlier, B-Stang, but you do not age. You have not aged at all. Jay Broski, Jay Dizzle, what up? All right, so quarantine hits.
Mm-hmm.
All gigs are canceled. Everything's shut down. Wedding gigs are shut down, or things are severely altered. And I'm going to move past Instagram pretty quickly because, everybody jumps on Instagram initially, but Twitch is this place where you can monetize what you do. How has that transition been from gigging and getting out to now monetizing what you do on Twitch? How has that transition been?
I guess the biggest difference is that you can just do this whenever you feel like it, you don't really have, I know some DJs, they're doing the schedule thing and, but I'm just kind of like, okay, like if I feel like I want to rock real quick and people are up and would tune in, I'm down to jump on and do a set. And
right.
Monetization part of it is, it's a plus. It's not what we're really striving for out of this. I had this conversation with Ice going into quarantine, or actually just a few weeks ago, we talked about, man, you're just seeing right now, just on Twitch alone, it doesn't matter where you're streaming at. If you're streaming on IG still, you're doing Mixcloud, you're doing Facebook, you're really seeing the DJs who would do this regardless because they love it.
Yeah.
Rather than, and the DJs who were doing it for a paycheck were the busiest every weekend. They're nowhere to be found right now.
Word. I remember you said that on your Instagram in the very beginning of things. You shouted out the DJs, or I think on Facebook, you shouted out the DJs that were doing this because they really love it. Because that's what this is at this point. It's a labor of love,
It is. You're getting to see your favorite DJs for free right now, man. You can watch Z-Trip on the stream. You can watch Jazzy Jeff rock it for 2 hours, and you didn't have to pay anything at the door.
It's crazy. It's crazy. To think about. What I do think is interesting also about this Twitch thing and the alternate personalities of Remark that have come out. We've had Remark LeBeau. We've got we got shades mode activated. We've got all these multiple personalities that we didn't get a chance to see.
Yeah.
When Remark was live. So are these things pre-planned, man? Because they are pretty fresh.
I mean, if they were planned, I don't think it would be that entertaining, to be honest with you. I feel like, a lot of things just happen spur of the moment, just, all right, let's have some fun. Like the other night, like we were just wondering, well, we've all seen that Twitch handle at Feet lurking in our rooms but doesn't say anything, so we sent out a search party for him, created an emote. The next thing you know, they're like, yo, it's not a bot, he's actually live right now. So I was like, put an end to that now.
Now Feet is part of the crew. The Feet emote is hilarious. The Remark pillow is still the best emote. It's pretty crazy. That Remark pillow, there's so much judgment. if that pillow was in my house, I'd have to turn that pillow around. It feels like there's a lot of judgment in that.
Not
pillow.
Many people I'm sure you know the story, but they don't know the story behind the pillow. I mean, it was meant to be just a gag gift at our snapback holiday party as a white elephant present, and I was hoping like someone would like. I actually had the idea like Eddie would end up with it and he'd be like all pissed off about it, but that didn't happen.
And then you could ask him for it, like, yo, since you don't like it, let me get that back.
And then I thought that was be the end of that pillow, and then these live streams happen, and then B-Stang has in the background and kind of took on a life of its own almost.
I feel like the Remark pillow was like the initial alternate Remark personality. I think the Remark pillow actually took a personality of its own after a while. It was auctioned off, like it just. It was the first online Remark personality as far as DJing online goes. Man, look, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Thank you, man.
I didn't get to half the stuff I want to talk to you about, so I gotta have you back, man. There's so much stuff to bring up and discuss. You've had like a very lengthy career and a lot of stories to share, and I think if any up and coming DJs were to just watch this, I mean, old school DJs too, there's a lot that they could learn.
Oh, we didn't even get to how I met you and like the story that I've had behind that, but it's
okay,
all, we can say that for
we got a couple minutes. Let's do it.
All right, so I met you at a global record pool meeting, and you were like, you're promoting one of your records that I gotta give it to you. It was hard to grind your own vinyl back then, man. But yeah, that's besides the point. Lucky Lou, shout out to Lucky Lou, head of Global Record Pool. He used to roll with this dude named Life. Remember Life?
Yep.
And
Lifey.
You two walked into the door at the same time one time, and I actually thought that you two were a duo, like Trek Life. So that was my initial thoughts. I thought Trek Life was a duo. It wasn't like just you. I was like, wow.
Wow, Lifey would be a terrible MC, but that would be a hilarious combo. He's a Lifey. Life is the original Life. I always say that when he's around. He was Life before I was Trek Life. That's
shout
funny.
out to Life.
Shout out to Life, man. A duo, Trek Life.
Yeah, you guys both walked into Chevy's in West Covina together. I was like, oh, okay, that's Trek Life. Okay.
The one time we and him walked into anything together, by the way, was probably that one time ever. I remember quite a bit about working with you over the years through various things. A lot of just the spots. Yeah,
I remember the same the spot that we first worked together at was Cinespace in Hollywood.
Yep. I was gonna bring up Cinespace and then later on J Lounge. But we, like all of us, we kind of passed each other in gigs, and being an MC, it was a little bit different. Although I wasn't able to gig as much because not every spot wanted an MC. Whenever I did, that's kind of how I got in with everybody. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Also, here's my vinyl. You know what I'm saying? Like, just trying to plug or whatever. You're actually one of 100 people that have it.
Of your records right here, dude.
That Never Again vinyl, there's only 100 of them. You're one of, I have 2 of them, so you're one of 98 people that have that record. So it's dope that you still play it for me.
It's good to know.
Word up. Thank you, Remark, man. I appreciate it. Everyone in the chat, you can catch him, DJ Remark, on Instagram, DJ Remark right here on Twitch. Please check him out. He might pop up at 2 in the morning. He might pop up at 6, 7 in the afternoon. Island Grooves though is
Sundays.
Sundays.
Yeah.
What time is What time on Sundays?
Usually at 6 o'clock, and depending on I usually like to go for 2 hours, but sometimes we'll stretch it for 3.
Okay. So yeah, Island Grooves at 6 o'clock on Sundays is the one place you want to make, if you want to guarantee catch up. But aside from that, you should be following and make sure your notifications on for DJ Remark, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Trek.
Word up.
Appreciate you, brother.
Holler at you next time, man.
All right.
Peace. Word up, man. Thank y'all for joining. Here, let me go back to where I can actually talk to y'all. There we go. Word up. Thank y'all for joining, man. That was like kind of just part of the conversation that I wanted to have with Remark. There's so much more to talk about. Thank you guys for tuning into the family room. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who followed and subbed. We gonna talk to the entire Snapback crew at some point. So, this is just the jump off. We got more in store. I'll have a really dope interview coming up. I'm not going to say the name, but a really dope interview coming up in the next couple weeks as soon as I can, make sure everything's locked in. But by far and away, one thing you should do, let's start this real quick, is make sure you are checking out snapbacklive.com/chief and use the Snapback code to get your Chief Botanicals. I got the CBD gummies. I actually was a little nervous about this interview, so I actually took one, ate one before. And as you can see, I'm calm and chilling. So there's that. I heard that DJ B-Stan got like 150 hours of sleep using these. So, if you need some rest, then you can do so. And also, to the homegirl, Chrissy. What up, Chrissy? Lakers, though. Can you do me a favor and throw Remark's Twitch in there? Oh. The De La Soul story. I'm not even doing it. That is twitch.tv/DJ Remark. Twitch.tv/DJ Remark. This has been the family room. I appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in. Let me know who we rating. If there's anybody I should be rating, I'm going to let this hang out for just a little bit longer as I cycle through all the videos. And, yeah, shout out to Ari. I'm going to do some quick shout-outs. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, that's not Planthony, that's Plantwinette in the background. Planthony is over in the corner over there. But, yeah, shout out to Plantwinette. Shout out to my big brother, my big sister in the chat. And make sure you follow DJ Remark, twitch.tv/DJ Remark. So, I'll holler at y'all next time. This has been the family room. I'll catch y'all next Sunday where we'll have another interview because I think the interviews are more fun for me than just performing. And, oh, shoot, I forgot. My bad. Cerritos All-Stars reunion, right? 8 p.m. What channel was that on? What channel was the Cerritos All-Stars reunion? Yo, thank you for the subs. Is that Waki? Thank you, Waki. Appreciate that. Yo, yeah, man. It's going down. Yeah. Please check out that Cerritos All-Stars reunion. We had the Legend reunion with Super Crumbly Icy Ice just a couple days ago. So, yeah, that was fresh. But I'm going to holler at y'all, man. Thank y'all very much. And we appreciate each and every one of y'all. On the count of 3, we say peace. 1, 2, 3. Peace.